Dustin Abbott. I'm here today to do a review of the Impact OctoCool 6. And these are Octoboxes from the company Impact. And so they come either individually. In this case, I've gotten the 6 bulb configuration, the OctoCool 6. And so they can come individually, or as I've purchased them in a kit. You can also get a 9 bulb configuration. And so here, obviously, I've got the outer diffuser in place on the Octobox. It easily attaches via just Velcro along the edges. Also, there is an additional internal diffuser that you can use if you're so inclined, if you want to soften the light, feather it a little bit more. But inside you have, in this configuration, you have 6 different 34 watt daylight temperature CFL bulbs. Constant light output, very easy to set a white balance for, and to get a consistent source of light, and either for video work or for portraiture, or you can even use it for lighting events. And we'll talk more about that in just a second. So the neat thing about each one of these is that they put out over 1,400 lumens of light per bulb. And so all told then, that's over 8,000 lumens, and depending on how close you are to your source, even more light than that. But the nice thing about them is that they are configured to where each bank of them has an individual switch. And so you have 3 different switches to turn on, and so you can control how much light output you have, or if you're working with a couple of them, you can set up different lighting ratios depending on what you use. If you elect to go for the slightly more expensive 9 bulb variation, not only do you get more light overall, obviously, but you also have the option of controlling each light individually. And so it just gives you a little bit more versatility for that. The kit that I purchased comes with 2 of these Octoboxes, and it also comes with the stands associated with them. Now, regarding the stands, they are very heavy duty, very sturdy, and that's because of their use in event type situations. They can actually be extended up well over 9 feet tall. And so obviously you need a firm base if you're going to be up that high. And so that explains why they are significantly more sturdy than less expensive or inferior light stands. Now, the one thing to note about these stands is that because they have to get up to a pretty significant height and have to have a good stable base, they have a fairly large footprint, as you can see here. And so if you're working in a small space, the very size of these lights, and that's one thing that that some users were surprised by, either in a positive or a negative sense, depending on their circumstance, is that these are obviously pretty significant in size. And so if you're working in a very small space, they probably are not what you're looking for. They take up too much room. But if you have a little bit of space to work with, they put out really fantastic light, and we'll look at that a little bit more in a second. As I said, these stands are very nice and sturdy, although one negative I will note is that if you look at the actual knobs that are adjusting for up and down, I find that the knobs are a little bit flimsier than what I would like, and I think that that's probably the weak link in the overall design. I like the fact that up top here you have some versatility as to how you're going to mount these, either up and down or to the side, and it gives you some options for that. And obviously there's full adjustments here when it comes to your position in that way. And so overall, a nice configuration there. The cool thing about the way that these come is that they both come with the Octobox itself, which takes a little bit of assembly. You need to put these tension rods into the base here and stretch them out. Some people have found assembly a little bit difficult. I didn't find it difficult. The one thing I will note is that the tension rods, as you begin to add more of them up, as you kind of create the umbrella, there is increasing tension on them, and so it takes a little bit of elbow grease. And so if you're not physically strong, that may make it a little bit more of a challenge for you. I didn't have an issue with assembly, although I wouldn't necessarily want to be assembling and deassembling these all the time, although you do have the option of doing so. The cool thing is that they both come with the option of using a beauty dish, which comes in the kit as well. And so that gives you some versatility on what kind of light you want to create. And Beauty Dish creates its own kind of unique kind of light, its internal reflector. And so it's a little bit more of a directed light and creates if you're looking for a little bit harder light in that situation, it's good for that. It's also quite flattering for portraits used in the right situation. I've also used it already as kind of a rim light or hair light. and it's very nice setup configured for that. So you have the option of setting up the kind of internal reflector or beauty dish inside that. You can use both of them, or you can use an either-or type situation, depending on what you're doing. Right now, I have each one of these set up kind of individually as they are. That gives me some options for shooting with them in that way. And so, of course, each one of them independently controlled from the back, how much light is there. And all combined, you're putting out a significant amount of light, near 20,000 lumens of light, which means these would be very useful in helping to light an event for video work. Perhaps if you're wanting to shoot a large group, say in a wedding at the front of a church, getting this light up high and directing it in the right way would provide a nice even lighting for a large group. It might be a little bit easier to accomplish and a little more consistent than using speed lights in that kind of situation. And so overall, I found them to be very nice as light. To give you a little look at the difference of light, here's a few quick portraits taken of me with the light set up. With the Octobox configuration, just one light. Then also, here are a few using only the beauty dish as the light. And then finally, a few taken in configuration, different variations using each light or both lights together in cooperation. So overall, as you can see, this is a substantial kit, offers up very nice lighting source if you have access to power and can have a kind of a consistent light in that kind of situation. I have already used them some in port situations, and also if you'd like to see how they work for like a video type situation, my recent upload of the Tamron 150 to 600 millimeter G2 lens first look, I used these lights in the studio for that kind of configuration, and I'll give you a link to that video here. These lights, this kit itself, it retails at B&H Photo right now for right under or right at basically $400, or you can get a kit with the 9 bulb versions for a little closer to $600. And so they're not necessarily cheap, but at the same time, they're well made and a very quality product that compares well price-wise to the competitors. If you haven't already, you can follow me on social media down below, and please click that subscribe button. I'm Dustin Abbott. Thanks for watching. Have a great day.